Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to talk about how to get a job in fashion in 2025. My name is Jada, I'm the founder and CEO of Glam and I'm very excited to be starting this new venture here on YouTube. I've been sharing career advice for over a decade now. You may have read one of my blog articles on Glam, maybe you have taken one of my online fashion courses, you read one of my newsletters. Wherever you're coming from, or even if we are the first time that we are seeing each other, thank you for being here. I am very excited to start this new journey where on this channel you're going to find tips on how to get into fashion. I'm going to explain you how the industry works from the inside. So if you're someone aspiring to get into the fashion industry, if you're a fashion student, if you're a student of any other traditional degree, or if you're working in fashion and you need to learn more about this industry, you are so very welcome to this channel. In this video we are going to talk about how to get a job in fashion in 2025 because I thought that the best way to start this channel was to kind of go into the general details, general tips on how to get a job in fashion this year. So without further ado, let's begin. The fashion industry is very dynamic and evolving, and so also the hiring practices are evolving as well. Getting a job in fashion is very competitive, but you don't only need to pay attention to the competition, but also you need to stay ahead of the new challenges, new technologies, so that you can also align your applications to what fashion companies are looking for today. So that's why it's important to stay up to date with what are the hiring practices. Because I've noticed that in the past years as a fashion career advisor and educator that many people do focus on the fashion content, which is okay. I also teach fashion courses, so it is totally okay to be learning about the fashion theories and all of the things about fashion. But it's also very important to pay attention to the hiring practices if you want to get a job in fashion. So if perhaps you are trying to break into fashion but you're not getting results, or if you want to get into fashion but you don't know where to start, in this video I'm going to share what works nowadays. Just for you, a little bit of reference, a decade ago I was where you probably are today. I wanted to break into fashion but I couldn't find any resource that told me how to apply into fashion, what are the different career opportunities. So I started Glam Observer back then to kind of explain all of these things. And so the goal of this video and this channel is to inspire you and give you the tips and knowledge that you need to turn your dreams into reality. So if you're ready to get into fashion this year, these are my top tips to stay ahead of the game. Number one, consider the AI tools. So if you're scared or if you're tired of hearing about AI also here in the fashion industry, I'm not here to scare you or to share boring things. Indeed, many of you are asking me if AI will replace some fashion jobs, and I don't think that they will replace some fashion jobs. So instead of worrying about AI, you should maybe worrying about acquiring the AI knowledge, because this is becoming a new skill that professionals should acquire. But in this video, I'm not very much focusing on AI as a skill that you should acquire. But in this video, I wanted to touch the role of AI, which is expected to play a significant role in the recruitment process this year. In the past, we were used to hear about ATS system, applicant tracking systems, which are used by some of the biggest fashion and luxury companies, which is like basically a tool that scans resumes. So when companies receive so many applications, they're going to insert some keywords. So these tools are going to help recruiters scanning the resumes. So if the resumes don't have those specific keywords, then the recruiter is not going to read at those resumes at all. AI is going to do something similar, but it's going to do even something more in the first part of the recruitment process. So considering that recruiters are going to use AI to help them in the first phases of the job application, such as to scan documents, you want to make sure that your documents, such as your CV, your cover letter, and your portfolio are very customized more than ever to the position and the company. In the past years, I have said many many times that customizing your application to the job and the company is super important. So for example, if you want to apply for a PR internship at Gucci, you read the job description, you see that there are some requirements from the position, as well as if you read the job title, so the description of things that you're going to do if you got the internship, you can see that it would be different from a PR internship that is posted by another company, for example. So you want to make sure that your resume, your cover letter always reflects that specific job posting.
If you're interested in getting a job in fashion, I will leave you the link to my free webinar where I'm teaching you 3 powerful strategies to break into the fashion industry. So check the link in the description to register for my free webinar and learn how to impress fashion recruiters with my unconventional fashion job application approach.
So don't build just one single resume and use it for all the jobs, because this doesn't work anymore. And not just because of AI, but in general because the fashion industry is so competitive and recruiters are really looking for something beyond just a fancy degree on the resume. They want to hire candidates who are very passionate about the role. Indeed, my tip number 2 is to consider that recruiters are now hiring from skills-based system. So instead of focusing very much on the degree you have, they want to understand if you have the skills, and if you are at the beginning of your career in fashion with no experience, if you also have the potential to grow inside a company, an organization. Because any tech skills can actually be taught, but the mindset that you have, the attitudes that you have, is unlikely that it's something that you can teach on the job. So they really prefer hiring those candidates who they know that technical skills can be trained, because even if you're going to attend the most prestigious fashion schools, at the end of the day, once you're going to get inside your first fashion office with your first fashion internship, that's when you are actually going to start learning the practical things that you need to do your job. Because you learn the theory in school, but then the practical world is something else. So they know when they receive applications from students that you don't have experience. So first of all, do not worry about the fact that your resume is short, but focus on something else. How can you show to recruiters and companies, editors, stylists, whoever you want to work with, that you're really passionate about that specific position by customizing your documents and your application? Because they want to understand that you're not just randomly applying for so many jobs or so many internships just to get one. At the end of the day, that is more or less true, you know? You're applying to multiple positions in order to get a job, but I encourage you, why you have to stay open to more opportunities and don't, for example, just focus on the top brands, but also consider startups or other types of companies, such as, for example, e-commerce brands. You also have to be very intentional with your applications. So anytime that you apply for a position, you have to really like the position, learn about the brand, so do your research and build a meaningful application so that companies know that you really care about that position and that brand. So customizing your application is key if you want to get into fashion also this year. The third tip that I want to share with you is, like I've already mentioned, you know that you need some documents to apply for an internship or a job in fashion, is that I really want to here underline the importance of not just using the traditional application and just building a resume and apply with just that. Even when companies do not expressly require a cover letter or a portfolio, I highly suggest you to add one to the mix, because this is going to really differentiate you from the other applicants, but also is the way that you're able to express more things about yourself. Because a resume is just a schematic representation of your skills, your experience, and your studies. And especially if you're at the beginning of your career, there isn't very much that you can add to your resume. So you want to be able to say something else to recruiters, and you can do it the cover letter and via the portfolio. Here, a very important tip as well. A cover letter is not a recap of your resume. So don't start the cover letter saying, my name is, I did this and that, because they can already see it from your resume. So instead, use the cover letter better to add something else. It should be like your personal narrative story about who you are, why you're passionate about the industry, why do you want to work in fashion, especially why you are applying for that specific position at that company. What do you like about the brand, the values that you share, because also values are things that company look at. So read the values of the company you want to apply for and make sure that you also share the values and that you mention them throughout your application, so they first know that you did your research knowing about the brand and their values, but also the fact that you share the same values, or that at least you understand them. So add a cover letter and add a portfolio. Here, something that I want to share is that many believe that a portfolio is mainly reserved for fashion designers or like stylists or more creative roles. But I personally believe, and I also teach to my students, to add a portfolio even if you want to become a fashion buyer, if you want to work in PR, marketing, because a portfolio is just a representation of your skills. So each role in fashion has its own set of skills. So if you're used to see portfolios as a collection of sketches and mood boards and fabrics used by fashion designers to showcase their collections, because fashion designers need to show that type of skills. But think about if you want to work in marketing, what are the skills required to get a job in marketing? Probably your skills would be like doing a competitor analysis, research skills, or like analytical skills. So your portfolio should somehow reflect that skills. And before you say that you don't have any experience or you don't have previous work that you can add to your portfolio, remember that your portfolio doesn't have to contain only real projects that you did in a real fashion job or real fashion experience. You can add to your portfolio projects that you did in school. For example, for my break into the fashion industry students, I do assign them some practical projects they can complete within the course that they can add to their portfolio. So think about something that you can take from a course, or if you have a personal project, or even just starting now a project just for the sake of building your portfolio. You're doing a case study, you're doing an analysis about the brand. So what matters is at the end of the day the content that you had inside your portfolio. So it doesn't really matter if what you're adding inside your portfolio is coming from a real work experience or if it is coming from course or even something that you have just started by your initiative. So that's even more appreciated actually, because you're showing that you know how to put into practice things even if you never worked in fashion before. So this also proves that you have knowledge about that specific role. My next tip on how to get a job in fashion in 2025 is to bet on your skills. Like I've already mentioned before, not all the skills in fashion are the same. So for those who ask me, Jada, but what are the skills to get a job in fashion? Well, the skills and the requirements for each role depend on the role. Like I mentioned, fashion designers need to have some technical design skills, but if you want to work in PR, if you want to work as a fashion editor, you don't need to learn how to sew, how to sketch a collection, because the skills are different. Fashion editors do write articles, style editorials, so your skills should be tied to that specific responsibilities. So when it comes to choosing what skills to develop in order to become more employable, I recommend to read the job description of your favorite fashion internships and jobs that you read online. Analyze the skills section and see what is required. Those are the skills that you should develop. But something that I can tell you is that for sure there are some skills that are common among all of the different roles, and one of this is Microsoft Excel. Excel is required in any fashion job and any fashion internship. I was personally surprised to learn that Excel is so much used and so much requested by companies when I first got started in the fashion industry. I was personally tested on Excel during my job interview with Alexander McQueen years ago when I first got into fashion. That was the moment when I realized that Excel is used by anyone in fashion. Even before entering the fashion office with my first fashion internship, during the job interview, the recruiter put me in front of an Excel sheet and asked me to do some things. So that was the moment when I realized, okay, everything I know about the fashion industry seems to not be true. Because maybe you might believe that the most important skills are like sense of style, but again, this depends on the job that you want to get. So study the job description and learn Excel, because whatever job you're going to get, for some of the most analytical roles such as fashion buyers, marketing, PR, Excel is absolutely fundamental. If you read a couple of job descriptions online, you will most likely find that advanced Excel or proficiency in Excel is required in 90% of the fashion internships and jobs. So yes, internships included, not just the senior or top roles. And I'm talking here about the top companies. If we talk about if you want to work at LVMH, Kering, so LVMH is the conglomerate that contains inside brands such as Dior, Fendi, Louis Vuitton. If you read the job descriptions of these jobs, you will see that Excel is required. Same for Kering, the luxury conglomerate of brands such as Gucci, Saint Laurent, Balenciaga, McQueen. All of these mention Excel, even for fashion internships, so make sure that you're prepared. Another tip that I wanted to share with you is more like basic knowledge about the application. So, because many of you ask me, how do I get started in the fashion industry? If you have absolutely no experience, you are a student, you're a recent graduate, you have no or little work experience, you need to start from internships. So once you have identified the department you want to get into in fashion, whether it's becoming a designer, working PR, marketing, buying, working at a fashion magazine as an editor, whatever is the career that you aspire to pursue in the fashion industry, you need to look for the internship associated to that career. So if you want to work in social media, you need to look for social media internships. If you want to work in PR, you need to look for PR internships. So if you don't have experience, again, internships are your way to get into the industry. Even if you're studying from the top fashion schools, even if you're taking another master's degree, you would still need to get started by interning. Because many people ask me, it is better to, if I'm going to do another master's degree, or should I do another internship? And the thing is that experience is always the most valued on your resume. So you can take another master's degree because education is always worth it and is the best investment that you can make on yourself when you invest in your education. But always consider that this is not to make you skip the internship phase. You will still need to intern in order to get a job in fashion. The last tip that I wanted to share with you is about building your personal branding online. Nowadays, recruiters do go and check your Instagram profile, your LinkedIn profile when they receive your applications. So you want to make sure that your profiles reflect your personality. Also, if you're looking for a job in fashion, I personally want to find the profile of people who are interested in the fashion industry somehow. It is totally okay to have just a simple profile. You don't need to have like professional photos, you don't need to become an influencer. The number of followers you have really doesn't matter, but depending on the role that you want to get, for example, some aspiring fashion stylists need to create their Instagram feed a bit more, because stylists want to first of all take a look at your styling to see if your style, if you have an aesthetic, what is your aesthetic, what is your sense of style. So curate your Instagram profile if you're an aspiring stylist. If you want to get more a corporate role, such as getting into marketing PR, you might want to post more on LinkedIn, for example. So you want to post what articles you're reading about the industry related to marketing, PR. You may also want to share something like write a post or an article on LinkedIn about some of your favorite fashion campaigns, things that you're learning. For example, I noticed that the majority of my students who took my webinars on online courses in 2024 shared about their learning experience on LinkedIn even more than what I normally saw in 2023 and even before, since when I launched the Academy in 2018. I saw that in 2024 and even now at the beginning of 2025, more people are tagging me because they are taking my courses. And it's not that more people are taking my courses, it's that I've personally taught them to share their learning experience on LinkedIn so that recruiters can see that you're actively keeping learning about fashion, because self-education is very much, appreciated by companies, but it's also a way for you to showcase that you're actively learning about fashion, or in general, you're staying informed about the industry. Even now, when I had to hire some people to add to the Glam server team, I personally went online and checked their social media, like their Instagram profile and LinkedIn profile. It's not very much, like I said, about the number of followers, but really looking at your social profiles gives me an idea of who you are as a person. And like I said, it's a lot about values that you share, things you care about, even when big companies are hiring, especially if you don't have experience. These are the things they're going to notice. So my advice is that you curate your Instagram profile, your LinkedIn profile, and that you share about your learning experience about fashion, so that when they are landing on your profiles, they're going to see that you care about fashion, you're keeping informed about fashion. But now let me know from you, which is your dream role in fashion? Let me know in the comments if you already know what is the role that you want to get into fashion, if you have any specific company in mind, because I would like to know and read about you, and I will respond with some tips. Alright, I really hope that this video was helpful. If you want to learn more about how to get into fashion, check out my Break into the Fashion Industry course or my free webinar. I will leave you the link into the description of this video. Thank you so much. If you want to learn more about fashion, how to get into this industry, do not forget to subscribe and let me know what you think about this new channel. I'm very excited about this new journey, and thank you so much.